Hello YouTube and welcome to another exciting episode of Slot In There. We're halfway through the series and we're going full throttle all the way through to the end of the series from now on in. Except we won't go too fast because we don't want to go above 88 miles per hour. Otherwise we might go back in time and the guys will have to enjoy my jokes again, which I'm sure we don't really want. So let's go fast forward, but not too fast, into this episode and welcome Damien, Sean and Tim.
Hello.
Hello.
Brilliant. How are we this week, guys? All right?
Peachy.
Peachy. That's solves it, isn't it? Right, okay. I've decided now, as a little intro segment, we're not going to do a joke, okay? I just thought I'd look for some interesting sort of little stories about tech just to guide us in. That might be humorous, but I'm not making a terrible joke about it, okay? So I was just having a look for some stuff, and I learned all about Velcro. Does anybody know how Velcro was invented? Go on, then. You don't need to put your hands up here, Sean. Can you just say?
I don't know if this is an urban myth or not, but I seem to recall it was something to do with a NASA scientist and him brushing against some like bears on a walk. Some like bears on a plant were catching some clothing, and he thought, "Oh, that's a good idea." So he came up with this concept of Velcro, which was used in some space program. But like I say, I don't know if that's true or not.
I mean, I'll go with that. What I've got is a Swiss engineer, Georges Le Mistral, that I can say his name, but he could have been a NASA engineer, was walking his dog through the field, yep, and all the birds got stuck to his dog, which does happen if you find you have dogs. It's really annoying to get them off. But yeah, and then he started looking at the little birds and the little hooks, isn't it, that you get in Velcro, and Velcro was born. We all need a bit more Velcro in our lives, don't we? I think I could have some Velcro to maybe stick pictures on the walls, stick them on there and then change them all the time. That'd be quite good, isn't it? Maybe on some clothes, we stick them on sometimes, don't we? When, you don't have buttons or zips or if they're broken, isn't it? And of course, shoes. We definitely need our shoes instead of the laces. I mean, why not? But let's get into the episode.
Really? There isn't a terrible joke?
I'm waiting for the joke.
I'm waiting for it.
It was there. I'll put the text up because it's why not KNOT. But there you go. Let's move into the episode. You didn't even notice the terrible pun.
No.
I can't believe he got one over on us. That's awful.
Terrible,
I think we're now numb to this.
I'm done. I'm going to leave. Wow.
Okay, so it's what games we've been playing this week. Who would like to go first with their game?
You, Chris.
Me, I went first last week, but if you really want me to go again, that's fine. Okay, guys, I got a bit bored this week and I joined a cult. So you're a bit down on your luck as a little lamb and you've been picked up for a sacrifice, which is a bit of a shame, and that's how you start your story. You get sacrificed, but the evil gods, there's even eviler gods out there and they want to resurrect you to take down those evil gods that just killed you. I know, it gets confusing already, but that's how Cult of the Lamb starts. You basically are sent back to start your own cult, to worship evil overlords and to take down the bad guys that killed you. So it's a bit of a redemption story, isn't it? It's a sort of roguelike game because you'll be going through dungeons all the time and collecting things. You can pick different paths when you go into the dungeons. So if you need some more resources, say, or you need to get another follower, you can pick a different path through. At the end, there's always a big boss. You fight them and then they usually give you another followers as well. And you need to get so many followers in your cult before you can progress to move into different levels. While you're in these dungeons, there's also places you can go and pick up different cards which give you different power-ups, maybe just for that run in the dungeon, but also for later on you can pick, before you go into a dungeon for later runs, which power-ups you're going to use to help you along the way. Once you come out of a dungeon for the first time, you then actually find yourself in a bit of land, and this is going to be your base where you're going to get more followers. And what you need to do to keep your followers happy, you obviously need to build them somewhere to sleep, you need to feed them daily, and you need to clean up their mess when they obviously go to the toilet. As you progress and you get more money, you can build more items, so you can build them a toilet, so they don't do it everywhere. You could get some farming going on, so you can start growing your own food, and they can tend to it and look after it, and they can build their own resources. So it gets bigger and bigger as you go along. You'll also get demands of some of your followers, because they might not like other people, or they'll ask you to go and find someone, or they might even say, I want to devote myself to you, please can you sacrifice me? So you'll have to do some sacrifices as well, but you might want to do this because they choose, or because they're being naughty, and you're just going to make a sacrifice to, boost the morale of things. As you go through the game as well, your little map area will get a bit bigger, so when you're not in dungeons doing runs, you can go to different areas. They have different problems as well and different resources, and you can gather more followers if you do certain tasks. So you end up with more and more followers. The more followers you have, the more devotions you can collect, and once you collect more devotion, it accesses more levels. You go up for the levels, you can buy more things and do more things, add things to your campsite, and obviously get different abilities for when you do your dungeon runs. This has been a very fun game, and what I've really found with it is you can just stay in your little base most of the time, your little camping area, and not do the dungeon runs if you want. And it's essentially a bit like Stardew Valley in the sense of you do a bit of like farming all the time. I could easily spend all my time picking all my crops, cleaning up the toilet, you know, making them pray to me, and before you know it, the day's done. You've got to make more food and everything, and I could just sit in that loop doing that all the time, tidying up the area and getting more resources and building different things. So if you want to spend your time doing that, you can, but obviously you'll have to do the odd run as well in the dungeons to get more money, to buy more resources as well. So it's not necessarily a dungeon game where you just have to go and do that as part of a game to progress through the levels. You can just sit there for ages, just making people happier, getting more followers, and you know, farming if you really want. So it's one of them. It's a very quirky game. I really enjoyed it. It looked great, and it's one that I've been planning to play for ages. So if you like those sort of ones, a bit of a roguelike game, or even like you're into your sort of Stardew Valley where you have to manage crops and sort of manage things, you probably really like this one. So I'd suggest giving it a go. Yeah, I mean, what more do you want? A little thing about devilish sheep. What do you guys think?
Well, sort of cute and friendly looking, but a bit sacrificey, isn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of giving me weird vibes when I was watching the footage of it. It's like Tim says, it's very nice and cutesy, and you know, you've got like the Stardew Valley farming kind of aspects to it, but under all the undertones of sacrificing your fellow citizens and these demonic gods, it was really kind of like, I don't know which way to go here. It's not you know, it's like a full-on horror game, or is it a cutesy, you know, with your big wide-eyed sheep hopping around? It looked interesting. It looked interesting.
I mean, it is
poop, an awful lot of poop.
Do you know what? There is an awful lot of poop, and it takes a very long time to build a toilet, so you do go around clearing up a lot of poop. I've just thrown it out there before you start the game. And it's also one of them you can play in front of the kids because they think it all looks cute, and they never read actually the bad stuff, like you're going to sacrifice people. So 90% of it's fine that they can watch as well. So that's all good.
You did. You should try that game I did a playthrough of, Pony Island, because that's nice and cute and a bit demonic.
Is it a bit like Stardew Valley though? A bit, you know, a farming simulator? Because that chills you out a bit. Even though there's demonic stuff in mine, it was a bit, I'm just doing a bit of planting. I'll cook everybody's food, just murder that bloke, sacrifice him, crack on, mend a bed. It's all the way like that. It's all nice and cutesy.
Raid a dungeon.
Yeah, raid a dungeon occasionally. Just that's where you go and get shopping. It's like going down the supermarket in it, really. But yeah, all good. Brilliant. Who'd like to go next? Shall we go with Damien?
If we like. I had a little trip down memory lane, and I played this offering. A game from my youth that brings back so many memories. Angleball on the Amstrad CPC 464 home computer. A simple and yet different take on pool. What makes this so good, you ask? Well, you have a hexagonal table and only 8 balls to pocket. Seems pretty basic, right? It is, until you get into the way this works. Potting a numbered ball earns you points, and if you can earn enough points by potting several of the balls, accruing more points than what's left on the table, you win the frame. However, if you take a shot and don't pot a ball, that earns you a miss, and 3 misses means frame over. In the event both players miss 3 times, the frame winner is the one with the most points. And did I mention sinking the cue ball gifts your opponents with points? I'll also point out that the table shape comes into play here too. Rebound shots might not go in the direction you think they will or want them to, but you do get control of the shot direction, speed and spin of every shot you take. And you only need to win 5 frames. You can play this game solo or against your friend. If you can't find a friend, then there's an option to play versus with the computer, and that comes with 3 levels of computer skill. There are 20 different layouts of the game table, which adds to the difficulty of the playthrough, and if you wanted to, there is an editor for setting up your own table. This may not be a AAA banger or have amazing graphics, but from back in the day, this was great. And if you like pool games and you've never played this, I would say it's definitely worth a go. So there we go. An excellent little pool game from back when I was just a wee nipper. What do we think?
Looks very calm and relaxing, I'll give you that. But I'll tell you what, that Amstrad CPC, what was it,
464.
464. Yeah, that looks like an absolute beast. I kind of want to get my hands on one of those. I can't, actually, what I kind of want to do is just rip out the insides and put like a sleeper computer in there.
But the game was
the
good.
whole point. The game was brilliant, to be fair. It's so many fond memories. It's just something that, going back to, just wells me up on the inside.
Yeah. I mean, I remember playing some on the Spectrum, some pool games, actual, like, eight ball pool. I get my words out. I was thinking I was saying, but obviously because yours is that different shape, it's probably added a different dimension to it, a different challenge. So yeah,
there seemed to be a run of these games, didn't they, back then? I don't know if it was the in thing back then with the physics they were employing, but it immediately brought back Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker, that kind of thing, virtual pool, and on all the old classics. But with the hexagonal table, that certainly puts a new slant on it. So yeah, I've never actually played it, but I was well into Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker and that kind of stuff back then. So yeah, kudos.
Is one table leg shorter than the other? No, different slant on it. Went over your heads. Okay, next person.
That's 2. That's 2.
You're not allowed anymore.
3.
You keep
I'm
lying.
not reacting to it. I am not reacting to it. I am not going to drop to your level.
Okay, well,
I might, but
might have done. Depends if you're on a slant or not, really, isn't it? Fall over.
Yeah.
Right, Tim, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. So I played, well, this time I went with a fairly modern game, at least at the time of recording. I was playing Blueprints. Welcome to Blueprints. That's Blueprints, CE, rather than Blueprints, with a TS on the end. I only mention that because one is a pun on the other. A game that is so unfathomably hard that it actually recommends that you use a notepad. A recommendation I have, of course, capitulated to. In the entranceway, you'll find a letter which gives you a set of rules. No tools or items may be brought into the estate from the outside. Tools and items found in the estate may not be taken off the estate, and you may not stay overnight. The meat and potatoes of the game is fairly straightforward. Each time you attempt to open a door, there's a chance you might need to use a key. You are then offered a choice of 3 rooms you can draft. Some rooms come with a cost of gems in order to open them. 2 of the rooms here require gems. I do have gems, therefore I can open one of these rooms. You choose the room that you want on the other side of the door you're about to open, and you open the door to walk into it. You play in a 5x9 grid, a total of 45 rooms. Your objective is to go from the entrance hall at the bottom up to the antechamber at the top. Just getting to the antechamber is insufficient. You will also need to open the doors by using the rooms that you pass through on your way. Let's take a look at a single room that contains a puzzle. I'm only going to show you one variation of that puzzle and the solution to it, just so that you get an idea, but I don't want to give too much away. The rules for the parlour game sound fairly straightforward. There will always be at least one box which displays only true statements. There will always be at least one box which displays only false statements. Only one box has the prize within, the other 2 are always empty. So now let's take a look at the parlour game itself. We have the 3 boxes. We have one that says this box is blue, one that says the gems are in a true box, and we have one that says this box is black. Now we know that one of the boxes has to tell the truth. We know that one of the boxes has to lie. The other box can be either. We're looking for a box that is the odd one out. It's tempting to try and select the one that has the true statement, but as you can see in this scenario, we already have 2 boxes with true statements on them. Therefore, it has to be the box with the false statement. In this case, the box with the false statement is the gems are in a true box, because it can't be in that one or that one. It has to be in this one. And there they are. To explain this game in the simplest terms that I can, it's far less akin to something like Call of Duty or something crazy where you're going shooty shooty gun bang bangs, and much more like, I don't know, sitting in a country pub perhaps with a half pint of Guinness and the Times crossword in front of you. This is the kind of game where you can continue to solve the problems and the puzzles within it after you've closed the game. It sticks with you. It's interesting. And I think that's kind of nice and kind of unique in a world that is heavily populated by running and gunning simulators. So yeah, this game's a serious puzzler. It's not for the faint of heart. And I actually don't have it to hand, but I do have my trusty notepad for keeping all of my notes in as I'm playing through that, because there's no way you can hold all of that information in your mind at any given time. What are your thoughts, chaps?
I liked the art direction in that game. The puzzles were very puzzling, but I'm not a puzzle type person. So on that, it's not the game for me. But the imagery that's on the screen, the way it played out, to be fair, I might actually give it a go.
The artwork's kind of interesting because it does look like it's been hand-drawn. I don't know whether somebody has literally hand-drawn the textures and then put them onto the polygons of the game or not. But it does look like that.
Well, I'm really happy that you played this game, Tim, because I was going to have to play it because my mate actually was a game tester on this game, and he's been going on for months when he's been testing it, going, I'm testing this really cool game. It's really out there. You know, you have to play it. He couldn't tell me about it, but it's like, and then when it came out, it said it's this game. And I did download it on Game Pass and played about half an hour and went, no. So I'm glad you at least did it so it could be in this episode, because it does deserve. It's a very unique game and a unique style for it. So it does need to be thrown out there.
I still haven't beaten it. I've looked to see what other people have said in terms of how long it's taking them. I'm on about day 13. I've seen people saying that they're on day 27 and have no idea how to beat this thing yet. So it's in for the long haul. Each day takes about an hour to play, so it could take a long time to get through it.
Oh wow, that's interesting, because when I was watching you play it, I thought, yeah, this is quite up my street. It's a bit of a puzzler, but on hearing how hard it is, I'm thinking maybe I'll just step away from this one. But I was really up for it. It looked really good.
Well, it's on Game Pass. I would say download it, give it a go, and if you get maybe an hour, you get through the first day, see how you feel. If you've got that itch to go, I think I figured out a couple of things there. Maybe I'll go back in and give it another bash. Then it's definitely a game for you. If you don't feel that itch, then
yeah,
time to hang up your blueprints.
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
And the cream's working. Right then.
3.
No,
Can't help me. You keep lining them up.
No, don't count that one. Stay with us, Damien. Don't let him get to you.
No.
Brilliant. And finally then, let's go to Sean. What have you been playing this week, Sean?
Well, Chris, this week I've grabbed my hat, grabbed my whip, and gone off for a bit of adventuring with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Who the hell are you?
Following the theft of an ancient mummified cat statue from the very school where you teach, a series of extraordinary events unfolds, setting Indiana Jones on another whirlwind adventure around the globe. From the dense jungles of South America to the shadowy catacombs of the Vatican and onward to the timeless sands of Egypt, the epic journey of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle begins. Machine Games have masterfully brought Indiana Jones from the silver screen into your hands, delivering an immersive experience that lets you run, punch, swing and solve puzzles through an exhilarating tale. Gameplay is fluid and intuitive, with controls that feel natural and responsive. While I've been playing with a mouse and keyboard, this game feels like it would suit a gamepad really well.
War Leonardo da Vinci nicht Italiener? Wer? Nichts, nur der größte Erfinder aller Zeiten. Nie von ihm gehört. Wie kann man mit so wenig Hirn überhaupt leben?
Set in the late 1930s, the story plunges Indy back into his relentless battle against the Nazi regime. This time the Nazis are on a quest to unlock the mysterious power tied to the Great Circle, and it's up to you to thwart their sinister plans. Graphically, the game is a visual triumph. The level of detail and the fluidity of the animations across the diverse cast of characters are nothing short of stunning. Artistically, the developers have captured the essence of cinema, with sweeping camera angles and dramatic storytelling that feel distinctly indie. Stupid Nazis.
Wait.
And then, of course, there's that indie humour. Perfect.
Sorry, pal, you kind of deserved it.
So, it's Indiana Jones, guys. What more do you want? He's the Grand MacDaddy of everything adventure, inspired like the Lara Crofts and all the rest of it. I must say, I really enjoyed this game. I love the Lara Tomb Raider games anyway, and obviously Indy. He's the star of it all and started everything. I've actually finished the game. I've actually completed it, and from start to the end, I was hooked. It's such, if you let into that kind of single player, story driven, start, middle, end, it's brilliant. The graphics are amazing, as you saw. They're unbelievable. It's using I think it's id Tech 7 engine from like the Doom Eternal games, that kind of stuff, which I didn't realize. I assumed it was something like Unreal 5, something like that, but it's using that engine apparently. Very cinematic, very indie. It's, a lot of tongue in cheek, a lot of humor. Brilliant. What do you guys think?
It's a beautiful, stunning looking game. Absolutely amazing. And it's the way the art direction, the storytelling, it's like you are playing an indie movie. You're partaking. It's brilliant.
It really is, and some of the some of the cutscenes in between, you finish some kind of like task and you go before you go on to the next one, and just the camera movements and the acting and the voice acting. I didn't actually realize. I thought it was Harrison Ford voice acting it, but it's Troy Baker, who's a very well known voice actor in the gaming industry, and his take on Indy is brilliant. It's perfect. But yeah, absolutely loved it.
No, I did have a crack at it, but it's all sneaking around in the end of it, and then I don't really like that sort of thing. But I'd say if you don't like sneaky games, it's worth playing just for the first chapter when it does the whole bit from Raiders of the Lost Ark, the sort of tutorial. It's just worth playing for that if you just played the first half an hour, 40 minutes, that first chapter. But yeah, it does look brilliant. Absolutely great game.
To be fair on that, there are a lot of sneaky bits, but you can get disguises. You can find disguises, so you can find like a German officer's uniform. So when you're going into like the enemy camps, you can walk around pretty much as you want, as long as you don't bump into like the commanders, because they're a bit more clever and they can like see through your disguise or a lot more quickly. But there are perks you can get to make it a bit less kind of like sneaky, but there is a fair bit of that, to be fair.
Quick question, Sean. If you had the choice now between playing the Indiana Jones game or watching an Indiana Jones movie of your choice, which would you do?
Play the game.
Ooh, high praise.
Yeah. I really, really, really enjoyed it.
So we're going to look at some wonderful tech you do need in your life that came from past, present, or future, as always. Last week, guys, I tried something a bit different. I don't think it really worked because Tim got it straight away. So I've gone back to the old format for this week. But you wait. I'll go back to that idea I had. It worked. But let's look at this week's What the Tech. What do you think of this week's What the Tech, gentlemen?
Oh, God.
Couldn't have given us something more to work with. I mean, I know what it looks like.
What's it look like, Tim?
Can you tell if
I'm not going to be the first one saying it.
It looks well, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. It looks like a sonic boom off an aircraft just going through the sound barrier, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Sean. Exactly.
Yeah. It does.
Definitely nothing else.
Or is it something that's been plunged into water and that's the air bubble that's formed around it?
Yeah.
Could be. All good ideas. Breaking the sound barrier is a good bit of tech, isn't it? But we'll find out what your options are, gentlemen. So, is it A, a hand that points in direction of rain clouds? Is it B, a rabbit that reads you sent messages? Or is it C, a stylus that sings as it draws?
I want a stylus that sings as it draws.
Be good, wouldn't it?
I'm inclined to agree with Damien. I think that is probably what it is. Why that exists, I don't know, but obviously Damien wants one, so there's a market.
It's an amazing bit of tech. That's why it exists. But yeah, what do you think then, Sean?
I know what this is.
Oh,
really?
I don't really, but I'm going to come across as very confident and say that this is, in fact, a rabbit that reads you sent messages, Chris. That's exactly what that is.
So it looks like that, and it's a rabbit. Okay.
Yep. He sounds very confident. So that's his final answer. Like a certain program. So that's Sean locked in. Tim and Damien, you're thinking C, a stylus?
I would like that, yes.
So I've still got a chance to win because it could be A. Let's find out. And the correct answer is it's B, a rabbit that reads you sent messages. Sean's clearly got one of these great bits of tech, I feel, already in his home. It's called Nabaza Tag, and it's basically the precursor to your current Alexa, because the idea was about this in sort of mid-2000s. This came out, and the idea was it connected to the internet, and you could, first of all, you had to go on a website and pick what sort of things you like, what sort of news you liked, if you wanted to hear your weather and all that lot, and then it'd tell you it. The rabbit would just start talking to you at certain times throughout the day, telling you all about your news in the morning or the certain weather. People could send you messages, like you can talk to your Alexa and all that lot, and it'd read it out to you. And they could also control the little ears. So you could just be sat there with this on your desk, and then its ears would start spinning around. And you could have some lovely hilarity with that. But yeah, it's one of them that sort of got being supported back in mid 2000s, sort of thing, late 2000s, I think it was 2010. But people love them so much, you can get them on the market, and now you can actually get new innards to put in it, a Raspberry sort of Pi, so you can still keep using them. Basically, it's all been reprogrammed, so you can get one of these kits and use it again. But yeah, as fun as it looks, it's a precursor to our now modern Alexas, so it is a little amazing bit of tech.
I don't think these are still available, Chris, because I've just Googled Electronic Rabbit and I'm not getting images of that.
You know,
You sure it doesn't look a little bit similar, at least to the ears?
Well,
Maybe they shrunk them down.
maybe got more compact nowadays. Yeah.
Now on to the part of the show where we get to have a little bit of a chin wag about all the fascinating things, in this case, AI. So there are different aspects to this that we probably need to talk about. I think, first of all, I'd like to talk about AI in games. What do we think the future application of AI in games might look like? Anybody got any thoughts?
Well, we've already started with some functionality of AI within, for instance, COD, using AI to draw some of the character skins and things like that. To some people's dismay, with something being shown on screen with 6 fingers, 2 thumbs. But the push for NPCs having AI integration, so you can actually have a sort of real world-esque conversation with one, and that kind of thing is going to make RPGs, like your Oblivions and stuff like that, next level. Absolutely next level.
yeah, on the back of that, Damien, there was I don't know if you saw it, but there was a bit of a tech demo, and it was the NVIDIA showcase of the City. I think it was the 4 Series cards, and there was a Superman demo launched with it and that kind of stuff. But some talented person actually integrated some AI into some of the NPCs, so you could walk up to these things on the street and say blah 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 blah, and it would contact an AI in the background. Admittedly, it was a bit clunky and a bit jerky and a bit of a pause, but it did come up with a spoken response, and that's like the birth of this kind of thing. But not only that, I think, as well as that, you've got GTA 6 coming out soon. Within a year or so. I don't know when the actual release date is, but can you imagine GTA 6 running around in that kind of environment, up to people on the beach and having a conversation with them, and it being very fluid, as opposed to, the parrot-like responses you get now, and a limited lot of responses where you can just go up to somebody and have a chat with them. But in addition to that, I think AI is going to start coming into more of the. Imagine something like Elder Scrolls, and you've got an AI at the back of it controlling the environment, the weather, the people, the actual story arc. So as you're progressing through this world, the AI is constantly changing the game around you and the other people in the game and stuff like that. I think it's going to become massive, absolutely massive, and I think the implications of what it can do, I don't think we can even begin to imagine at this time. It's just going to change it.
I was going to say, I suspect that we will see at some point in our lifetimes games that are just entirely generated by AI. So not only is it just things like the weather or how the characters move and that kind of stuff, or the NPCs move, that kind of stuff, that we will see, but we will actually see games that effectively rewrite themselves while you're playing, so that it can modify the mechanics of the game, or it can modify the entire environment of the game, or modify the purpose of your character within the game. It could do all sorts of crazy stuff like that. Chris, I think you were about to say something. Sorry.
Well, no, I think it's just all good, really. And in one respect, obviously, we need to look at the other side, the flip side that people are saying, like, especially with voice actors, isn't it? That AI is going to take work away from them, and obviously script writers, because normally you'd have all these for the NPCs. But I do feel it's one of them technologies progressing. I don't think you'd want it, like, say that you could write a whole game potentially, which we will end up. There'll be a few games that are fully done AI, much like you can get videos on YouTube that are fully done by AI, but they won't be. They're not the best videos, you know. You'll still want the stories there.
Not
They're
yet.
not. They're not. Don't say they're the best videos. The AI videos
No,
are
no,
the
no.
best videos.
I'm not saying they're the best videos. I'm just saying not yet.
Not yet.
Give
Well,
it time.
give it time. They'll get better and it'll improve, and we won't be able to. We'll get to the point we won't be able to distinguish that, and that'll be the same in the sort of games. You probably won't realize, because there's already start in some sort of films. You don't realize some background stuff was AI, isn't it? So yeah, it's going to get that way. But I feel we just got to be wary still, and still have stories in games. I wouldn't want. Yes, it's great for RPGs, but I wouldn't want I want a story in it not to be suddenly changed by AI as you're going along. It'd be good in some respects, but also you just want a story being told and not changed by AI, because sometimes
True.
AI is rubbish at reinterpreting a story.
But one thing an AI could do that realistically people are unlikely to do is continue the story so that it can span forever. So you could play what is effectively your favorite game and it just keeps going and going and going. You never ever finish it. It just gives you new adventures, new stories, and continuously evolves. That's something to
There's a
consider.
reason stories stop, because
is
otherwise
true.
they get rubbish.
We've
So,
We've
but
all
I
seen our
agree.
favorite TV show go on too many episodes.
Well, that's what I mean. We've all seen it, isn't it? But yes, there will be games like that, and people will like that, and you know, it could be fan stuff going on and on, like your Star Wars and it, huge things like that. And like I say, Lord of the Rings, all of them, you could have little side things and fan made stuff, but AI could generate it, and that's absolutely fine. And probably will happen, and probably be very successful. But yeah, some stories you just don't want a continuing story time. Sometimes you just want that story or as a piece of art, and it wants to be made by a human rather than an AI, because they put more of the emotion in it. Obviously, when the AIs, you know, become our overlords and take over and all that lot, then they'll have probably more opinions to it, and they can make their own AI games then. But for now, while the humans are still in control, I feel, you know, we want a bit of our presence in games.
Well, there's a couple more things that I've seen sort of thrown around as suggestions. One is having, I can't remember what they called it. I think they might have initially called it Copilot, but Microsoft sort of grabbed hold of that before anybody could really do anything with it. But the idea is that if you had a game where you had another player that you needed in order to complete tasks, imagine playing something like Portal 2 or something like that. You have to have two players in order to do it. Well, to do the Portal 2 two-player part. So the idea is that they could write an AI that could play your second character, so that you would carry on playing the game as though you were playing with another real human being. How would you feel about doing that with an AI?
To me, it'd be exactly the same as playing any game now that has any kind of bot programming in there. So you start your game up and say you can have 4 players in your crew, in your squad, but you don't have 3 mates to play with that particular evening, so the bots just take over. To me, if it was an AI, it would be exactly the same response. Might be a bit cleverer, might, you know, try and interact with me with a bit more, you know, naturally, but it's still a bot.
Yeah, I was going to say, you will actually, the idea is that you will actually be able to verbally speak to it, and it would be able to speak back to you so that it can understand the ideas and concepts that you want it to perform within the game.
There's
But
many
yeah,
games.
we know how. I was going to say, we know how bad the bots in Left 4 Dead 2
Exactly.
are.
I mean, there's been many games that have done that, where you can actually direct, you know, your bot friends in your crew. You go over there and you go over there, and so it's a bot.
And one more idea that got floated around was this idea in something like an MMORPG, where you might decide, right, that's it for the day, I'm going to shut down my computer, step away, and that your character could then remain persistently in the game, controlled by an AI who can use your voice and the character's likeness, maybe not your likeness, whatever you've chosen your character to look like, and that it could carry on playing with other players. Now, again, this is basically like the Player 2 concept, but it takes your character and does it with that. How would you feel about that?
It's a bit pointless, really, of having a player, isn't it? Then if the AI just want to go and play themselves, go and do a free guys and play over there, isn't it? Sort of thing.
Yeah, and also in those kind of games where your character's getting leveled up and achieving stats. I mean, if you're laid there in your bed while your character's off doing whatever he's doing, leveling you up, it's a bit of a cheat, really, isn't it? I mean, why? And like Chris says, what's the point in your character doing all these things while you're sleeping, and then you come back to it and it's like, oh, I'm now on the other side of the map. I've got all this equipment and I don't know what the hell I've been doing for the last 12 hours.
But they did something similar to that kind of idea in one of the Forza Motorsports, where they called it a drivatar.
Right.
And what would happen is the computer would, or the cloud system would monitor how you've been playing games, your usual positioning, how you basically do the tracks and the different courses and things. And then it would use that amalgamated as a kind of persona for you, and it would continue to race online other players and accrue credits and stuff for you to use in the game. That all whilst you were offline. Obviously, you didn't do your voice because that would just be weird. But it did do how you would drive around the course.
It's fascinating stuff, isn't it?
That's interesting because there's an obvious cost to that. So if you're at home and you're offline and your PC is switched off or your Xbox is switched off or PS5 or whatever is switched off, but your character's off in the cloud or in the ether doing its thing, somebody somewhere is paying for that in both power consumption and just the hardware needed to run that. So where does that come from? I mean, something like that must surely be like a subscription, or you're going to have to pay for it one way or another, are you? Nobody's going to give you that for free. Surely.
It was given for
Really?
free as part of Turn 10's. I think it was Forza Motorsport 4, I think, that they did it on. Could have even been 5.
Wow.
I was going to say, I've noticed in Forza Horizon 5 that if I'm single player racing a track, then it will have other people's names above the cars, people that I know. But I'd never really thought, oh, well, that's obviously playing the way that they play. I just assumed, it stuck the names on the cars just to make me feel at home, maybe. In conclusion, it's a mixed bag, really, isn't it? I mean, yes, it's a nice idea that we could have all of these interesting extra things in games that perhaps we couldn't have without the use of AI. But as Sean mentioned, well, as we all mentioned at various different points, there is a cost. Somebody somewhere is going to suffer because of this. You're either going to be suffering for it financially, you're going to be suffering it because you work on these games. Maybe you're one of the artists, maybe you're one of the animators, or whatever you may be. You may lose out on your job as a result. So, double-edged sword. What's the best thing to do going forwards?
I think it all depends on its use and implementation.
It's your letters, it's your letters, it's your letters, it's your letters.
Okay, everybody. So we're at that stage of the show where we need to solve a dilemma from one of you viewers. The Games Meister's on standby, and we need to introduce him. Damien.
Some say he discarded a bitten apple and a tech company used it as their logo. Others say he once got a standing ovation from Stephen Hawking. All we know is he's the Games Meister.
Hello again, boys. And here we are. In the words of Duran Duran, wild boys always shine. Are you shining, boys? Are you? I do hope so. On with this week's dilemma. And this week, we have a letter from a Mr. Sauron. It goes thus. To the Slotted in their team. For many years, I have presided over a vast deserted expanse, keeping watch alongside a handful of the locals. My domain is so immense that I could once see for miles across this Middle Earth, though I must confess, my once unwavering gaze has begun to falter. Where once I could perceive every movement, my vision now blurs, betraying me at inconvenient moments. Smaller objects and certain individuals have been slipping beyond my sight, allowing them to run rings around me and cause unfortunate disturbances at the local foundry. A particularly troubling incident occurred recently when outsiders flooded my territory, far more than was ever acceptable. They terrorized the locals and wreaked havoc upon our community play area, a most unwelcome intrusion, I assure you. Regrettably, I cannot wear contact lenses. There simply isn't a size grand enough to accommodate my singular eye. And while glasses are an option, I fear they may undermine my imposing presence in the community. Thus, I find myself at a crossroads. Should I abandon my vigil and take up a new hobby? Perhaps crafting fine jewellery for my neighbours? Or do I set vanity aside, embrace the inevitable march of time, and procure a grand monocle, one befitting my stature, so that I may continue seeing all that transpires in the world with clarity? Yours, in watchfulness, Sauron. So boys, what should our friend Sauron do? Should he look about purchasing a monocle to fit his eye, one which will correct his vision and enable him to look at the entrance to Mordor with more ease? Or should he retire gracefully and become a fine jeweller, crafting things like rings and knickknacks for the local population? The choice is yours, as always. And this week, it will be Tim! Tim Timmery, Tim Timmery, Tim Tim Daroo. I choose you. And this week, Tim, you will be playing a time trial in the game Portal. You will be playing Test Chamber 13, and your mission is to complete the chamber in 40 seconds or less. You have 5 minutes to try. You have any number of runs that you can do within those 5 minutes, but you must achieve a time of 40 seconds or less. Get Portal in.
Okay, guys, what do we think about that one? That's quite an interesting dilemma from Sauron. So, Damien, what do you think?
I think he should age like a true gentleman and bestow himself a monocle.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's doing a noble service there, a bit of neighbourhood watch for the community, helping them out, and he clearly enjoys it as well. So, and feels strongly about it. So, yeah, let's not be so vain and just get yourself some new eyewear.
Okay, that's 2 for carrying on as he is, getting a bit of aid for his vision. Tim, what's your thoughts?
Obviously, he has to go for the monocle, although that is a ring, and that's a bit unfortunate considering. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is that yes, the monocle is the way to go. Let's face it, if you're going to be making jewelry, it's fine work and you need to have great eyesight for it anyway. So, monocle, it's the logical way to go.
Okay. Interestingly, I've gone for the other way. I think he's been keeping an eye on his neighbourhood for all these years and keeping out the orcs and keeping in the orcs. But anyway, I think he should have a rest. He should settle down, do what he wants to do what his passion is, start creating jewelry and some fine pieces for people to enjoy, and just enjoy the rest of his life.
Well, shall we see how Tim did?
Yes, let's.
My 5 minutes starts now. Let's get straight into it and not waste any time. Now, I can restart as many times as I like, but I need to feel out the level first of all.
Now that you are in control of both portals, this next test could take a very, very long time. If you become lightheaded from thirst, feel free to pass out. An intubation associate will be
Can I drop
dispatched
that?
to revive you with peptic sal and adrenaline.
Okay. Oh, I didn't mean for it to go in there. Where does this go? Here.
Right, okay. What does it do? What does it do? Ah, right, okay. Oh, right, so I've got to jump on that. Oh, I left that way too late. Okay. I was going to say, does it come back? Oh, well, that was good, wasn't it? This does not bode well. Oh, whoops. Okay, but we're still feeling it out. We're still feeling it out. Okay. Whoa! Okay, forgot about that. So 1 dot, 2 dot. So 1 dot. Are we supposed to be up there first? Okay, so that's a button. So we put that on the button. Then we got another button. Okay, so both buttons need to be active. The door should open, right? So if I do that, bam, straight onto that number. I can put a portal through there, can't I? So we go straight through there.
As part of a previously
turn right,
mentioned
straight to the
required
end.
test protocol, we can no longer lie to you. When the testing is over,
Right.
you will be.
That took a really, really long time. So we're going to have to streamline that a lot. So
Now that you are in control of
that's
both
faster.
portals, this next
First of all.
test could take a very
Oh, well, that's
long
not.
time.
Okay, right. We're not even going to bother. We're going to keep just going with this. So
Now that you are in control of both portals, this next test could take a very
oh, rats!
long time.
I've got to do that
If
faster.
you become lightheaded from thirst, feel free to pass out. An intubation associate will be dispatched to revive you with peptic salve and adrenaline.
Do I want to be over here? I don't know that I do.
As part of a previously mentioned required test protocol, we can no longer lie to you. When the
46.
testing is over, you will be missed.
That's okay. That's starting to look more doable. How long do I have? I do not have long. Right. If I don't get things perfect, then we are just.
Now that you are in control of both portals, this next test could take a very long time. If you become lightheaded from thirst, feel free to pass out. An
you gotta-
intubation associate will be dispatched to revive you with peptic salve and adrenaline.
Needs to be up there.
As part of
Oh,
a
wrong way, wrong way.
previously mentioned required test
It's
protocol.
3. It's not fast enough.
Now that you are in control of both portals, this next test could take a very long time. If you
That's the
become
killer, is that
lightheaded
thing
from
bounces
thirst,
and then it
feel free to
dies.
pass out. An intubation associate
I need
will
to
be
get both of
dispatched
those
to
down
revive
before
you
it
with peptic
dies.
salve and
I
adrenaline.
don't think I can do that.
As part of a previously mentioned required test protocol, we
42.
can no lo-
All right, the last run still counts even if I run out of time, so this is the last run.
Now that you are in control of
Oh, I
both
got hung up on the wall there.
portals, this next test could take a very long time. If
That
you
did
become
not go
lightheaded
right.
from thirst,
Time
feel
is
free
up.
to
It just
pass
timed out.
An intubation associate
Stop
will be
that.
dispatched to revive you with peptic salve and adrenaline.
What's going on? Oh, I missed that one. How frustrating. That's so hard. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. I mean, I kind of want to keep going at it and see if I can get it, but, you know, we're going to have to throw it back. I'm afraid. Sorry, guys, let you down. How are you supposed to do that?
Oh, Tim, you're rubbish at games again, mate. What can we say? Just
Oh, I 2 seconds. I was 2 seconds off. If I'd had 10 minutes to work on that, I reckon I could have got it. But 5 minutes just isn't enough. 5 minutes, you have to memorize everything. You have to memorize every action. And there's one part in it with that little glowy thing that goes along and it pops. And if you don't get the portals down quickly enough, it disappears and you have to wait for it to come back again. And it takes too much time. And I just couldn't figure out how to get that through the first portal in time so that I could get the rest of it done. Everything else was in place, but 2 seconds.
It's perfectly fine to just not manage to succeed at a time challenge, Tim. It's fine. Don't let it get you down.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Is that a dig, Chris?
Fair play, Tim. But I think the game's fair play. I think the games master's starting to live up to his actual title now, and I think these challenges he's starting to throw out are starting to ramp up. I think maybe last season some of them were maybe criticised as being a bit too easy, but certainly this season they've gone up another notch. So at least you tried.
Or have you just got worse with games with the, rapid decaying of age? Who knows? There's something in it, isn't there? But either way, we're doing rubbish.
I would love to laugh that off, but there is certainly something with being in your mid-40s and playing games that require quick reactions. It's not as easy as it used to be.
But anyway, a decision was made. So Sauron is going to make some fine jewelry instead of, putting, he doesn't have to be vain then. He can look good, without glasses and, do all that. Make some fine jewelry that you can give to, local people. And it'll all be good. And that's the end of the show. We're here once again. I hope you enjoyed it. It was all really good. And, we might come back next week if you still like us and want us to. Guys, what do people need to do?
Hit a like and a subscribe down below. And, if you enjoyed it, it doesn't cost you anything. It really helps us out.
Do you want to be part of one of our episodes? Do you want to interact with us? Leave a comment down below and we may just feature what you're saying in the next one.
Click the bell so you're notified later of anything else we upload in the future. Nice.
Brilliant. And as always, we'll end the show with a quote that I picked because I thought I'd quite like it. And it's from one of my other favourite authors, which is Douglas Adams. And, he liked hitchhiking around the galaxy, if you remember, and all that lot. And the quote for this week is, I love deadlines. I love the whooshing noise they make as they go by. I think we can all relate to that one. But on that blue screen of death, it's time to end the show. See you next week then. Bye.
Bye.
Laters.